there's been coyotes. And we have a small dog, my little four-legged spiritual running buddy, Mochi, who I love and adore. And I've seen this coyote was 4 times last week. And it's usually when I go to walk him. And this morning, of course, Mochi being Mochi was like, I want to go before 8 o'clock in the morning. So, pardon me. So I have this little empty candle container that I put coins in and I shake it. And I always think of the song Shake Your Money Maker. But anyway, so I go and there's a gentleman in the neighborhood who feeds dogs. So we have a little connection. And I was mentioning that someone had said to us, don't leave food on the ground because they're looking for food. And he always feeds the dogs and there's food on the ground. So I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, we got to go back in because we've got Awaken. And I don't want to keep, people waiting. So as we go in, as I look across the street, there's the coyote. There's a coyote, a young one this time. This was a different coyote. And I'm like, oh. So every morning I have a partner and we send gratitudes to each other. And so as I was walking into the door and I was crossing the threshold, and I saw my little Mochi next to me, and I saw that coyote, I was filled with gratitude. Gratitude that my dog is safe and alive. Gratitude that I had the foresight, thanks to being here with Awaken, I had the foresight to get back in. So it's a very interesting little conundrum because the dog needs walked. And it's so funny because last week when I saw the dog, I was walking around dreading running into the coyote. Like, what would I do? I'm not that big because when you see a coyote, you're supposed to really get big and yell and my little dog and all those little human things that were going through my mind. And I had this moment where I was like, okay, I am God in the flesh. I am one with the one. I have everything I need to go out there. And I just went out there. And the first time I almost had like an encounter where the opposite corner, the coyote was. And then I was here. So I did what they said and I was bellowing. And there was a family down to the left across the street that had a little dog. So they grabbed a little dog. There was a couple that was walking up one of the side streets and they had their little dog in their arms. And it alerted everybody in the neighborhood. So what is the message of this? The message is that you are stronger than you think you are. And what you do impacts people. And when you stand for being a source for good, it ripples out like I had no idea that when I stood on the corner and bellowed at the coyote, and I was really interesting because it was like this, the young one this morning when I shook my can of coins, it trotted. The one last week was just sauntering down the street. And so the curious thing is last night I had a neighbor, I have neighbors, of course, and we were chatting. He's like, was that you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, my mom was here and she said she heard someone bellowing, yelling. And he was like, was it a woman in a white coat? Because they thought Mochi got her. And I have this kind of, it's kind of raggy. I need to get a new one actually, of this coat that I just throw over when I'm taking the dog for a walk or running out. But the people in the neighborhood know me. because I've taken the time to smile at people, to say hi, how are you, to connect. And that is really the message for this morning is, are you taking time to remember that you are a source, a force for good? Are you remembering that you're stronger than you think you are? The thoughts in your mind do not give you a picture of who you are sometimes, depending on what you're moving through, depending on if something happened. So before we move into meditation, I invite you to consider that you are a source for good, a source for a transformed world. To consider that you're stronger than you think you are, and that your presence makes a difference in people's lives. You might be the only person in that person's life that smiles at them, that says hi to them, that says thank you. So if you question your worth, just know that you matter. You walking down that street, you crossing over, you telling the clerk at the store, have a good day, might be the only touch of humanity in their life. And then they remember the next time you go into that store, the next time you walk down the street, the next time you fill in the blank. So the three things that I've shared with you are interconnected. You are a source for a transformed world, a force for good. You can interchange source, force. You're stronger than you think you are, and you make a difference. Your being here makes a difference. So in those moments when you may be sitting and thinking, what if, is that, will that, are they? Perhaps replace it with, I matter. What can I do? And then go do it. And don't let anyone outside of you ever tell you that you are less than magnificent and that you are here on purpose with a purpose. So you can write on those particular themes because they are interconnected. Just like we are interconnected in the web of life with every single person on the unseen side, not necessarily the seen side. So you're stronger than you think. You make a difference. You're a source, a force for good. Let's move into meditation. For those that are watching via YouTube, we're going to go into our Zoom meditation. I invite you to join us in consciousness.